So how did you feel about the preseason game? I feel like we saw what we needed to see right away.
No, I mean, look, the bottom line is this too, again, because number one, there's so many, right? Like, we'll get into it. But when you talk about like who performed well, who didn't perform well, and it's guys that are fighting for a spot or just more so fighting for where they're going to be in the depth chart. Like, yeah, that's cool and all, but preseason can be a little volatile with that stuff. But Hunter, the truth is, you want your starters to go out there, look really crispy. And the most important starter to go out there and look crispy is always your quarterback. And Caleb, as far as I saw, Hunter, you correct me if I'm wrong, a lot of improvement over last year in terms of just already the stuff we really want to see. That wind up that wind up to release point to me looks much smoother, much more compact. The pocket awareness already looking better. Again, yes, the pressure hasn't been anything crazy he's had to face, and against backups, but he looks much more comfortable. He's scanning much better, and that velocity in that ball is crazy. We already knew that with Caleb, but every pass was accurate, and that's all. And even when he got flushed out, he did his Caleb stuff, and he had to he do his throw on the run. It was pretty damn close to being an accurate throw, being on the money. Some would even say it would be catchable if the receiver was able to make a super athletic play on it. So all things you wanted to see it that I wanted to see, we're already checking off the boxes with Caleb.
I would even argue that like the throw when he scrambled out to Zacchaeus, I almost like expect him to make that throw because we've seen him make that throw plenty of times. So I don't know. Like, I think the throw to Rome could have been a little bit better, but at the end of the day, I think Rome also has to catch that. But I think very early on, even with very simple concepts and very simple plays, you saw how Ben Johnson is creating like separation for these receivers based on, the switch release when you have those receivers bunched up. And then another thing with Loveland is I think that ball, the second ball to Loveland from Caleb could have been more accurate, but that's why you go get a guy like Colson Loveland who is going to snatch it out of the air, even if it's 3 feet too high. Like, that's why you draft him, to make the quarterback look better, right? And now Caleb needs to get that there, but at the end of the day, no one's really talking about it because it was a completed big gain. It doesn't have to be perfect. It just has to work. So I think the biggest thing, especially with the reports that we've really seen in the offseason, it's like Caleb's been up and down. It always hasn't been the cleanest during camp. When it got to the game, you can easily tell that it's not that they made it easier on him. They just weren't throwing the kitchen sink at him every single time he stepped to the line, And the biggest thing I want to take away from Caleb's performance is the stuff he did. It wasn't things that he can't replicate in the season, right? Like, everything he did is like exactly what he needs to do in season. It's not these crazy wow plays that only he can make. Like, he was picking the right spots in the defense. He was getting the ball out on time. And you saw when Zacchaeus got that ball, he was gone. And like, the amount of times we saw that last year where it was just like very obvious who the guy he's supposed to be going to is. This guy's running wide open just based off the scheme. Like, obviously it's the backups and you have the Bears starters. Like, there's a skill gap, but you could just tell the offense just looked so much more competent. And it should give Bears fans, in my opinion, a lot of reassurance of, yeah, the Ben Caleb stuff is probably going to work.
Oh no, it's gonna work. And that's what I'm glad you led me in the right direction here, because that's what I was gonna say next anyways. Beginning the perfect transition. The thing about it is this too. We can already see how because it's two things combining into one. The run game already looks a lot better, right? Again, against backups, yes, but it looks a lot better. The scheme looks a lot more versatile, and the Bears are getting chunk runs pretty consistently. Whoever's touching the ball as a running back looks pretty damn good right now because the O-line's doing their job. But on top of that, then when that starts happening, you have teams are starting to shoot the run first. They're trying to make sure they don't allow these chunk runs. But that plays perfectly into Ben Johnson's hands with how the Bears are starting to play now, where everything, again, it's all mirrored off each other. We're lining up single back. We have so many pass plays out of it. We have so many runs out of it. Same concept with shotgun. We have so many bootlegs out of the same formation that we're running out of. so many fake bootleg, reverse the bootleg. Like there are so many things that the Bears are already doing. And to your point, and it's keeping it rather vanilla. Like obviously, they're not going to show all their cards, but you can already see this is how they want to play. It's how they're going to play. They're going to keep teams off balance. Caleb can get the ball there in a snap of a finger. The velocity is looking better. Like the velocity already looked good last year. Honestly, it really did look like he had a new, like kind of like a new dial on it as far as I'm concerned yesterday. And again, it's just, and really, we already touched on it. I kind of glazed over it. Really though, Hunter, the biggest thing to me was how honestly his throwing motion did look a lot more compact. And it really was like he was saving like 0.1 seconds, which doesn't sound crazy. But again, if you know ball, you know how much that 0.1 seconds means in a lot of situations. And it just, Ben Johnson definitely came in and already got his mechanics a little bit better. And that's exactly what you want to see. Like there wasn't one thing I would take away. It was discouraging. Like you said about the Rome play too. Like, yeah, it could have been a better ball, but it's like that a lot of time. When your receiver is talented as Rome is, like, yeah, you got to bring that in. And so it's like Caleb basically had a perfect day. You know, like he did everything. And putting the more anything, giving the ball to Rome in that situation is really what I want to see. It's again, it's a 1-2. If the ball's where it needs to be, do that all season long. Everything we said in the offseason is going to come to fruition.
The main play I had a problem with, and I guess it necessarily, I don't know how this play was supposed to go, so I don't want to put it completely on Caleb. But do you remember when Caleb had the ball? It was out of shotgun, and I believe Loveland was running like a drag route, like a crossing route across the middle of the field. And it looked like Caleb saw him but didn't throw the ball. I don't know if Loveland was looking for it. But then the running back was coming out of the backfield. He was like popping up. Like, I don't know if he was ended up running a wheel route or he was just like curling like vertically. But Caleb kind of threw the ball behind him. Maybe he saw the defender there. I don't know what that play was supposed to be. It looked like it was a little disjointed, or Loveland didn't have his head around, or I don't know what it was. But, you know, that was a play I kind of had issue with. I just felt like there was a missed opportunity there. I don't know if it was Caleb's fault, but just as from the offense as a whole. There was the one other play that I actually want to give Caleb a lot of credit for, which I think is a little, I guess it depends on how you want to view it. Okay. So you remember the screen play, right? Where he threw it into the ground because the Bills defense kind of sniffed it out. While I like that he dirted the ball, because there was times last year where Caleb really should have just thrown the ball away and he tried to make something happen. And honestly, he only had 6 interceptions. Nothing crazy happened, but it was more about sacks, right? Like I wonder if they had really drilled into him like, hey, if the play's dead and like you don't see an easy option, just don't take a sack, like end the play, live to fight another day. And I think that is what we saw with that screen that he threw into the ground. Now, with that being said, I would need to look at the play again, but I remember when I saw it once or twice, my initial thought was like, I don't think there was anybody coming from the other side, and he definitely could have just taken off and run. I know that's not your mindset when you're doing a screen, because you really, unless you're running a fake, like you only have that one option. Like you're really only looking at one option. You want to sell to the defense that the blitz is getting through and that, you know, they're not trying to cover a back. But with that being said, overall, I think what Caleb came out and did, what the number one offense came out and did, is very admirable. Now, the only thing I will say in terms of something to kind of hinder like this, like all out, like, oh my God, we're amazing, is the second series is not as scripted as the first series. So obviously that's just going to grow with chemistry and getting used to the offense. But overall, like preseason aside, you saw what you needed to see, and that's really what matters from Caleb Williams.
Oh, no, absolutely. And, you know, showing love to some other guy, you know, we've been giving love to all offseason. Look, Luther Burden's going to be a great player for it. Like we've been on Luther Burden. It looks like everything we want to see as far as I'm concerned.
Before we go into Luther Burden, let's just get into like the twos as a whole, like, or twos or threes even. Has there ever been a time that the Bears have actually had like a cool quarterback room? Like, think about it. Like Caleb Williams, Tyson Bagent, Austin Reed, like, okay, they're not like world beaters, but like they seem like capable, and you saw them running the offense. Tyson Bagent, 13 for 22, 196 yards really and a touchdown. Good. Austin Reed, 6 of 7, 66 yards. So it's like, I mean, I'm just saying, like, of all the years that I've watched the Bears, I've never had a quarterback room like this. Or maybe it's just we have never had an offensive play caller of this level who knows how to run a system that a competent quarterback can run, you know?
No, like, and I'm glad you said that too, because no, to your point, they both looked good. Honestly, they both looked good. Obviously, Bajan had a lot more time, but I will say, like, to his credit, man, Bajan looks really good for a backup. He's definitely not afraid to take chances.
Undrafted free agent.
Yeah, like he's not afraid to take chances. He's gonna, and not even risky though. I'm just saying it's more like he sometimes makes the throw that it takes a lot of skill to make. Like we've seen it in 2 back-to-back preseason games. The one at the back of the end zone versus the Dolphins, where he had to put it at the perfect spot over the defender, and then put it where your guy has enough room you can come down with it at the back of the end zone. And then the one trailing to the right on the run in the corner, right, not the back pylon all the way, but like 3/4 of the back pylon over a defender that's basically 3 yards in front of your guy. You got to give enough leverage. He can't get it, but you got to get where you got. Like he's not afraid to make those throws. And as far as I'm concerned, for a backup, that's really impressive. And it's the best case scenario where, again, nothing's gonna happen. Nothing's gonna happen to Caleb. But you know that just in case he has the flu or something, you know what I'm saying? Tyson Bagent can step in there and give you a pretty good chance to win. Again, unless you're playing a world-beating team, that's a really good feeling to have.
I agree. I think my thing with Bagent is if they ever needed him to spot start for like 3-4 games, I'm confident that we could probably come out 500. Like we could win a couple games in there. And I think that's a lot. I think it's a lot of credit to Bagent for like how far he's come, especially being drafted into what he was drafted into. But the fact that, you know, we have an offensive play caller and as a head coach who can get, 3-4 quarterbacks in tune with the system, all playing well. But even with that being said about Bagent, Austin Reed has looked good. I mean, Case Keenum looked good. So it's just inspiring to see that the Bears actually, credit to Ryan Poles, are picking guys that can be developed into solid depth pieces, especially in the quarterback position where backup quarterbacks are more valued than ever now. You see teams paying $5 to $10 million for backups, maybe even more sometimes. And teams are willing to eat that because they don't want their season to be over completely if their starter ends up going down. But jumping back to Luther Burden, he's going to be a stud, Dobbs. But we've known this. We've said this since he's been drafted.
I'm going to repeat it again, Hunter, because it's been a little while. We took our little off-season hiatus. I'm glad we're back, though. The vibes are up. Here's the thing. I've been saying this. You've been saying this. Hunter, he could go for over 100 receptions. You set the yard total to whatever you want. He really could have that type of year, because that's the thing too, is I'm not even sitting here trying to overdo it on how I think Luther Bird is a really good player. He is still a rookie. It's more that like teams are going to have to do so much about Loveland, DJ, and Rome that it's like Luther's kind of just like, in a sense, not like the odd man out, but he's not going to be the first guy that teams are doubling on. He might well end up being the guy doubled by the end of the year.
He can't,
but
though.
For the beginning, he's not going to be. And he's just going to be that guy who's on the whips, on the drags, on the stick route. And it's like, why would you not throw it to him? It's kind of like he's that guy for the Bears. Yeah. He's gonna have an incredible rookie season. Outside
of Burden, even when we talked about earlier this offseason, like Zacchaeus was an incredible signing. I can't believe we got him for how cheap he was. And after what he did in Washington, like he always struck me as a guy that Ben Johnson would definitely kind of lean towards, just because he has never been someone that has needed a ton of targets to make a difference in the game. Like he knows what he's doing. He does what he's asked. And having Zacchaeus and Burden as your wide receiver 3-4 is kind of insane. And when you think about it, now this is more long-term thinking, and mind you, we're in preseason game 2 of this new regime. But think about 2 years down the road. Like, let's say DJ Moore, like the Bears choose to, move on from DJ Moore, because guess who your core is? Rome Odunze, Luther Burden, and Colston Loveland. Like, that is the core that is going to be growing for the next 4 years minimum. So it's like the Bears offense is super young and super talented, and these players are already making impacts before we've even seen the regular season.
No, absolutely. I mean, right. And to that point, it's super encouraging to see. But we would be, Hunter, we'd be remiss to not talk about, look, it's amazing that the offense looks how they do, but the defenses look damn good
Yeah.
too.
Yep.
And namely, we're all thinking the same guy here. I don't even have to say it. But Austin Booker, it looks, I mean, but
before he got pulled out
we were on
yeah.
this last draft. We were on this last draft. But look, he was one of our guys. I think he was going to make a leap this year, but he looks like he can make a monumental leap.
I just hope he's okay. I mean, I know he came out after that kickoff, but it would really hurt the Bears' edge depth. Like, Austin Booker is one of those players where if he just has a regular season, like, it would be great. But it's also a player who, if he had a good season, you drastically improve the defense because of the depth that you have at edge. Because when you look at the Bears roster, you have Montez Sweat at edge, obviously. You have Dio Odangbo, but then you have Dominique Robinson and Austin Booker. Now, I would imagine the Bears are definitely going to be moving their interior piece around. I know Gervon Dexter has slimmed down a little bit while Andrew Billings has gained some weight. But then you have Grady Jarrett, Shamar Turner. So the interior I'm less concerned about. But if Austin Booker can actually have an impact off the edge this year, which, I mean, I'm okay with him not I don't want to say taking a redshirt year, but like I would like to see him make an impact. But next year should be the year he really shines. But if he's able to do it this year, I mean, he's only 22 years old.
No, and again, this kind of, like we were talking about when Dennis Allen first got hired. This is the thing, is it all lines up perfectly because, like we talked about with that Dennis Allen defense, you're going to be playing a lot. You're going to be playing a lot of like just like tight shell, making sure we stuff those gaps on first and second down, making sure we're stout on the run, which the Bears have been. Like the Bears' run defense looks really good. They're flying to the ball, which is exactly how the Dennis Allen defense is. So then on third down, third and medium, third and long, you can play that man like he loves doing. But then, so if you play that good run defense, and the Bears right now they have a really good rotation of guys that are playing the run really well. You let Austin Booker get in there on third downs, even if he's only out there for a third half the snaps. He looks damn good when he's out there. The Bears have good depth. The D line's firing on all cylinders right now, as far as I'm concerned, which is what we knew this was going to happen. Like Dennis Allen, right? He didn't get all the shine this offseason because of Ben, obviously. But Dennis Allen's going to be a really good defensive coordinator, just like he left off being when he was a defensive coordinator.
I mean, Dennis Allen, I mean, they put a shutout together. They allowed 0 points to the Bills last night. They scored 38. It was awesome. The concern that I have, and this has nothing to do with Dennis Allen necessarily, him, but the corner room is looking pretty thin right now. There is a lot of injuries. Za Frazier, we kind of don't know what's going on with him. He's out for personal reasons. I don't know what happened. There hasn't been an update, but I believe Trey Flowers is hurt. Kyler Gordon is injured a little bit. Jalen Johnson is injured. You got Tyree Stevenson. You got Nashawn Wright. I just hope before the season the secondary room gets healthy, because that is really the strength of the Bears defense. Now, I will say this. I think when you think about how conservative the Bears defense has been these last couple years, it's pretty impressive how good their secondary has been, especially with the lack of pass rush. So if the Bears have a fully healthy cornerback room going into the season, and you have a more aggressive defensive coordinator in a Dennis Allen, I could even see the secondary room taking another step, because you're not asking them to sit in coverage for 4, 5, 6, 7 seconds. You're asking them to play aggressive man. Now you might get beat off the line a little bit more, but if the Bears pass rush can be average and the aggressiveness on defense is high, I mean, this secondary is still one of the best in the NFL.
No, absolutely. And again, I'll speak from experience on this. but it works out more often than it doesn't. Right. We had so many seasons where we played great ball, right, with the Saints, with Dennis Allen. But the thing is this, I'll say, there are certainly periods of time where and again, he could have man could have learned from his mistakes. He might not be like this anymore. But sometimes he is so hard-headed in the past about teams will just be beating you consistently on third down. You're playing cover 2 man, cover 1 robber. You're like, it's just like keep going to the well. And it's just you just keep getting beat. And you'll be like, dude. Like it'll be like a 9-minute drive in like the clutch where you just can't get out the field and you're like, dude, switch it up. Like send a slot blitz and let's play some zone, or let's sometimes he just won't do it. But you know what? He sticks to his guns. It usually works. At the end of the day, sometimes that's why he's a defensive coordinator in the NFL. He knows more than me, but sometimes he can be a little true to that man on third down. But maybe he's come with a few new like Flus tricks up his sleeve.
Very pleasant surprise last night, Dobbs, was the running backs. Britton Brown, 16 carries for 73 yards, 4.6 yard average per carry with a touchdown. Ian Wheeler, who was the player last year, who I believe tore his ACL in the preseason, but he had 19 carries for 80 yards, 4.2 yards per carry, and 2 touchdowns. So even in a preseason game, the Bears put up 171 yards on the ground, 3 rushing touchdowns, and then 357 yards in the air and 2 passing touchdowns. Well, with Britton Brown and Ian Wheeler. Now, I understand this is backups, but with the Bears running back room being Kyle Monangai, Roschon Johnson, DeAndre Swift, Travis Homer, and Roschon, there's some weird stuff going on with him with the injury. It's pretty impressive what they were able to get out of these guys. And Britton Brown actually looked pretty good.
You know who else looked really good last week? Kyle Monangai. Like, that's what I was saying is that my thing is this, Hunter, it doesn't really matter. But again, this is what's so great about when you have an O-line that can do their job, especially when the depth across the board, it doesn't even matter which unit's out there. They all are doing the right thing. Ben Johnson's got everybody in check. Exactly what you want to see. When the O-line is moving people, the running back can move. Simple physics, Hunter. When the O-line's moving guys in front of them, the running back's always going to get a few yards. But when they can get a few yards and put their head down, put their shoulder down, push forward for a few more yards like the Bears running back room has been doing, you got yourself a real good combo. So really at this point, as far as I'm concerned, whoever's touching the ball looks really good right now. And again, I know when you're playing first team, if you bring the fourth team guy in, it's not going to look the same. But it's encouraging that everyone does look good right now. Because sometimes you get guys where they don't look good at all against third and fourth stringers. And then that's when things are not cooked, but at least that player's cooked. It's a good thing the Bears don't have that situation with the running back room.
I feel like kind of my final thoughts on the game is that it looks how it's supposed to. Like, there was not a single moment last night where I just wanted to, where I am thinking, and it's crazy that Bears fans have had to deal with this for so long. There were so many times last night where I just was enjoying the game and not thinking, why do I know to make a better decision than an NFL coach? Like, there was genuine moments last year where I'm sure that is how I felt about the Bears as an organization, from the GM position to the head coach position. Why do I feel like a section of the fan base could make better decisions than the people in charge? And that's not how it feels. That it truly feels like the decisions they make are more well informed than the fans going to be, because a lot of it is just competition, and it makes sense. It makes sense. What do you think Matt Eberflus would have ever allowed his team to score 38 points when his opponent has 0 in a preseason game? Like, if people need to understand, like, the drastic difference in philosophy and teaching that is being taught to these players from day one compared to the previous regime or the other regimes. Like, yes, I'm sure Nagy wanted to score, and I'm not trying to throw Nagy under the bus. He was a much better coach than Flus. But it's still like, the Bears have not had a head coach with like a killer kind of mentality like this since who? Who?
Also,
Like,
just a bag this deep where you can be a killer the whole game and know that you're not going even to like 5% of the well. That's, I think, the biggest thing on top of it. He just knows he's got so much stuff that it's like, I'm not afraid to put a few extra things out there. We're not even going to use this shit in the regular season. I just want to see if we can run it now. You know, like type of mindset. So that's what's really impressive about the whole thing on top of all that.
Final thoughts, Dobbs?
Final thoughts. We covered everything, but just to reiterate, Hunter, look, the people that were out on Caleb, it's going to be a rough year. It's a rough year to be a doubter. If you were a doubter, stay on that side. That's all. Can you second that? If you were a doubter last year and you were on the it's over, I'm not talking Bears fans. This is more like the league in general. But when Caleb gets off, you know, there's those people that love to buy jerseys of like other teams and stuff. You know, like them youngins and stuff. Yeah, if you were one of those youngins that already bought the jersey for, you know, you're the other young QBs that are looking good, and you were out on Caleb, just stay on that side, because the real ones like me and Hunter, we never got off the train. Matter of fact, we started the train his second year in college. We can't get off the train. It would be against our morals. But he's going to be like, it's a bad year to be a doubter. That's all. I'm just going to leave that. Those are my final words.
Yeah. Final thoughts. This Bears offense is loaded. If Caleb can put it together, if the O-line can stay healthy. I mean, Luke Newman was playing left guard, right guard, starting most of the game. Theo Benedict taking snaps at left tackle in the left tackle position. I think it's Braxton Jones' job, but Theo Benedict may have been one of those diamonds in the rough, similar to a Braxton Jones that polls may have got right. Man, that would be incredible tackle depth to have Braxton Jones, Darnell Wright, Theo Benedict, and Ozzie Trapillo. Like, I feel so much better about the tackle room now, and I think we're moving towards maybe Kieran Amagaji moves into the guard position, and we see where we go from there.
Great situation to be in. I would definitely second that.
All right. Well, that was our recap for the preseason week 2 game. We'll be back next week. Thank you guys so much for watching. Be sure to subscribe, leave a like, let us know in the comments what you think the Bears record is going to be this year.